Good morning, boys and girls. Many of you have been telling me how much you're enjoying hearing the stories of the saints of the Eucharist, and today we have another saint to learn about. His name is St. Gerard. Let's hear his story. This story is called A Playmate of Jesus. One day, Mother took tiny Gerard to church with her. When they came into the church, Mother pointed to the tabernacle. She said, "Look, Gerard, Jesus lives in that little house. He is there all day and all night." She made the sign of the cross with his tiny hands in hers. Gerard loved to watch the bright beads of his mother's rosary as she prayed before Our Lady's statue. Soon, Gerard would learn to pray the rosary too. He loved to look into the lady's face. She had a child in her arms. It was Jesus, the Christ child. When Gerard was not quite 5 years old, he found his way to the church alone. He wanted to see the lovely lady and talk to her. He wished to see her little boy, too. During one of these visits, something wonderful happened. As Gerard was kneeling in front of Our Lady, the little child in her arms came down. He began to play with Gerard. What fun the two little boys had. Gerard was hungry, and the little boy gave him a loaf of fresh white bread. Thanking the little boy, Gerard put the bread under his arm and took it home to his mother. "Where did you get such nice white bread, Gerard?" his mother asked. "Oh, Mother, the little boy I played with gave it to me. He has such a beautiful mother, too," said Gerard. For the next few days, the same thing happened. Each day, Gerard brought home a loaf of bread. One day, Gerard's oldest sister said, "Mother, I'm going to follow Gerard today. I want to see this little boy. Then we shall know if he really gives Gerard the bread. It may be that he's taking the loaf from someone." The mother did not even want to think of such a thing. Gerard's sister watched him from the window while he was playing. After a while, when the little boy left the yard, his sister followed him. So that Gerard would not see him, she followed from afar. She saw him go into the church. She said to herself, "Perhaps he's just stopping for a visit. I'll watch from behind this tree." But Gerard didn't come out. Very quickly, his sister went into the church. Very quietly. She heard him talking. She could hardly believe what she saw. There was her little brother playing with the little boy. It was Jesus. He gave Gerard a big loaf of bread. The girl quickly ran out of the church, and all the way home she was so excited. She ran so fast she could hardly tell her mother what happened. The next day, both Gerard's mother and sister followed him to church. They heard little Gerard say to the lovely lady, "Hello, dear lady. I'm back again. Can your little boy come down to play with me now? I came earlier today so we could play longer." With tears of joy in her eyes, Gerard's mother cried out, "Oh, we must thank God every day for giving us little Gerard. Jesus must love him so dearly, and to think that the bread comes from God himself." These were not the only times that little Gerard saw the child Jesus. He loved to go to Mass every day. Jesus let the little boy see him on the altar at Mass. Gerard often saw Jesus from the time of the consecration to the communion of the Mass. When Gerard was about 7 years old, he thought that he was old enough to receive Jesus. This happened long ago, when children had to wait until they were 14 before they could receive Jesus in Holy Communion. One day, Gerard saw his mother going up to communion. "Jesus wants me, and I want Jesus to come into my heart. I know it will be all right, won't it, Jesus?" said Gerard. So he followed the others. But when the wise and holy priest came to the little boy, he knew that Gerard was not old enough. The priest did not give Jesus to him. With tears in his eyes, Gerard went back to his place. He cried that day because Jesus had not come to him. That night, when Gerard went to bed, he couldn't sleep. He thought how wonderful it would be if he could receive Jesus. Suddenly, he saw a big, bright light, and right before him stood a beautiful angel. It was St. Michael, the archangel. This very beautiful angel had a white host in his hand. The white host was Jesus. It was for Gerard. Kneeling on his bed, he received Jesus. Gerard could not go to Jesus, so Jesus had come to him. This was his first Holy Communion. Gerard thanked Jesus with all his heart and gave him all his love. When Gerard grew up, he worked as a servant for a very mean man. Gerard offered up all the hard things he experienced for Jesus. One day, while the man was away, Gerard took a pail to get water at the well in the city. Before he left, he locked the mean man's house. When Gerard reached the well, he sat down to rest. Then, just as Gerard was bending over to dip his pail into the well, the man's house key fell into the water. Poor Gerard, he didn't know what to do. He thought how mean the man would be to him now. Then he thought of something. Gerard quickly ran to his own home and got his statue, a little statue of the infant Jesus called the Infant of Prague. When Gerard came back to the well, he put the statue in the pail and said, "Dear little Jesus, please go down and get the key. I must have it at once. You know what will happen to me if I don't get it." Gerard let the pail down into the well. When he pulled up the pail, the key was hanging from the infant's hand. Later, Gerard became a brother. Now he could give every minute of his life to Jesus, and he could show others the way to love Jesus in the Eucharist. Boys and girls, we can imitate the life of St. Gerard by longing for Jesus to come to us in Holy Communion and being prepared so well for him to come to us and being thankful with all our heart when he does come to us each time, even if we go to communion every day. And just like Gerard offered up his sufferings and his trials with the mean man that he had to work for, we can also offer up our sufferings and trials to God. And remember that God will pour out grace upon us, upon our families, and upon all people. So definitely being at home without school right now, without being able to see our friends and our teachers at school, it's very difficult. And what's even more difficult, I think, is to not be able to go to Mass right now and receive Jesus. So I hope that your parents have taught you the spiritual communion prayer, and that when you watch the Mass on TV, sometimes the priests will say the spiritual communion prayer. But if you don't know it, your parents can easily find it on the internet, and you could print it out to pray, to ask Jesus to come to you in a spiritual way, even though he can't come to you right now in Holy Communion. But I'm sure, boys and girls, that it won't be long before all of you will be receiving your first Holy Communion. And what a beautiful day that will be. So I will be back with you tomorrow, and we will read another Saint of the Eucharist. Tomorrow our saint is St. Teresa of the Child Jesus. Sometimes she's called the Little Flower. So I'll see you again tomorrow, boys and girls. Bye-bye, and God bless you.